So today we're going to be talking to y'all about homemade candy canes, eggnog, and Christmas turkey. Stay tuned. I'm not really sure what happened, but the camera cut off as I was putting the ingredients in. So it's just water, maple syrup, and sugar in the raw here. And this is how it starts. As it gets boiling, it's not boiling real much until after a few minutes it really takes off. And at this point, I was second guessing actually starting it in such a small container. And then here's my recipe. I like to change things up a bit. And then it kind of calms down. Unfortunately, when I poured it out, yeah, it was a failure at this point. I'm not really sure what I did wrong, but it did fail. But I was able to recover it and use it for something else. I decided to grind it up because it basically was just peppermint maple sugar at that point. Because I'm like, hey, I can still use this. I am really bad about I don't like to waste food. And so I just grinded it up really, really fine, and I'll see what else I can do with it. So that was an epic failure. You know, it's kind of a good thing that the camera kind of shut off at the first part that it did. I don't know what I did wrong, but maybe maple syrup was not the way to go. Alright, on to attempt number 2. I am determined I am going to make candy canes for my kids this Christmas. Alright, here I am adding a half a cup of water and my sugar. And I'm going to go ahead and get that mixed and get the sugar dissolved before I move on to the honey. And then I love this contraption here. It makes working with honey and butters and stuff so nice. So I got the honey in there and got it stirred up and got everything going really well and brought it to a boil. And at that point, you're just supposed to walk away and not stir it. Which I was really good for a little bit until it started really boiling over. One of those, again, I was not following my own advice about don't do that. Had to quickly put it into a bigger pan and get it heated up again. It actually poured out pretty easily. I kind of gagged myself a little bit when I added the peppermint essential oil though, so yeah, not the best thing to do at that point. I decided to use a buttered bench scraper to try to work it a little bit, which it was working fairly well at first. I mean, this stuff is extremely hot and extremely sticky at this point. So you definitely want to be real gentle in how you handle it. But over time, it definitely started to thicken up quite a bit. The more and more I worked with it, as you can see, it started to really thicken up as it cooled. And it was kind of fun for a little bit, but then it started really becoming a pain to try to use my bench scraper and work it around. As you can see, it started really sticking and just becoming a pain in the butt at this point. I decided to try to work it with my hands. And I had read that you can use the mat to kind of work it. And I tried that for a little bit, but it just was not working out as well as I'd hoped. So I went back to my hands. It still was kind of hot, but not as extreme. So I was able to work it fairly comfortably at this point. And slowly, the more I worked it, the more that it actually became more pliable, that I could actually really pick it up and start the stretching with it. And this was actually quite relaxing as I stretched and folded and added air to it. And the color itself even started to lighten. As you can tell, it became shiny, almost golden color. This was really fun to actually be able to stretch this, and it was kind of warm, so it really helped make my hands feel really good too. Over time, it became where I could actually remove my gloves and just use buttered hands with this. And then soon, the more and more I stretched, it got where, as you can see, that I really had to pull on it. Like, it became difficult to pull. About that time is when it was actually time to start shaping. So I just cut it in half and then kind of rolled it and shaped it. Not the best when it comes to making candy canes, but you know what? It will work. I found too, if you roll it between your hands real quickly like that, and then on the mat, it actually worked so much better in actually being able to shape them. I had this thought that maybe if I rolled it in the red beet powder, I could actually get it to have at least a little bit of a red tint. And it kind of worked, but not as well. I love my little boy's commentary there as he's like making faces at the camera. And there's my finished product. I'm really hoping that as these cool that they will harden up really well. So it's been like 5 hours and they look like candy canes, but not exactly like a candy cane. I mean, they at least taste like one. So I'm gonna get my kids' opinion of these. Each one?
Can we get them off the... Yeah, can we get them off?
Alright, now give your honest opinion of them. What do you think?
Chewy.
What do they taste like, a candy cane?
Mm-hmm.
Just more like taffy.
Mm-hmm. A hard taffy. Like, it's like those Laffy Taffies that are just really hard.
Let me get you. What do you think? What do you think about it? Is it yummy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like it?
It's worse than bubblegum mixed with peanut butter.
Does it taste like a candy cane?
It does.
It
That's
does.
how sticky it is in my mouth.
There you go.
Me
Good.
too.
Well, you're definitely taffy.
So definitely something you wouldn't want to put on the Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of fun to play with. But definitely not candy cane.
This will be my first demonstration on preparing a Christmas turkey. So what I'm going to be doing is adding a turkey to a bucket with some ice, broth, and juices. So for right now, we'll go ahead and add the bird. Put it face down so that everything I throw in the bucket will collect all around the bird, and then when we add all the other things, we'll fill it up with water and ice and let it chill overnight. And that way it'll be prepared to be smoked in the morning. We'll plan on roasting this thing for at least 6 hours, and hopefully it'll be as good as we hoped. First is this orange juice with orange zest, garlic, amino acids, and Worcestershire sauce to the bird. And then some grape juice. Ooh, that's strong. And then some apple juice.
Mm.
You can see we've added all of this. And that's what the bird will be soaking in all night. But lastly, we're going to be adding vegetable broth to help really enhance that flavor. And then we'll be topping it off with ice. So we'll be letting it chill outside. And then by morning, we'll be taking it out for further preparation and adding it to the smoker for a nice Christmas dinner.
This is what it looks like the next morning. And so you're going to want to drain that bird really, really well before putting it on your work surface. and patting it dry from back to front. Now on to the mustard rub, which is just mustard, garlic powder, pepper, a little salt, and some molasses. So we don't measure, we just kind of eyeball it till we like what we see. Give it a good mix and then start slathering that bird. You want to make sure that you cover every inch of that bird with this yummy rub. Now, on to the smoker. We cook it about 250 until it is done. Oh, this is going to be so yummy. I cannot wait. So it's the next morning. We've got turkey prep going on. Rolls are in the oven, and I wanted to update y'all on the Candy King deal. So I left them out last night, hoping that they would firm up a little more. I think they got worse. Like, there is like no life to these things now, and they're sticky. Oh my word, these things are sticky. So pretty much at this point, these things are kind of like taffy, as the kid said last night. Yeah, there's not much, not much life in these things. Oh, hopefully next time I will get them right. So we've got a lot going on today. Now, let's go make some eggnog. So here on the homestead, we do drink raw eggnog. And like I said before, you definitely want to check your sources. And since most of our source comes out of our backyard, we're good with it. So you want to start first by separating your yolks and your whites. The recipe calls for 4 eggs, but I like to use at least 6, sometimes 8, depending on how eggy that we really want our eggnog to be. I will share this recipe for this eggnog in the description below in case you want to actually give it a shot too. I'll just slap a lid on those egg whites and throw them in the fridge and use them for something else. Alright, next you're going to be adding 2 cups of raw milk. And this is some of our goat's milk. After adding the 2 cups of raw milk, then you'll pour in a cup of raw cream. You can use the cream from the store, that is fine. We just happen to have some goat cream available. Then you're going to put in about 1/4 cup of maple syrup. You can use honey in this, that will work just fine. Then it's about 1 teaspoon to 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. We like ours a little stronger with the cinnamon. Normally you can add about 1/2 teaspoon and it is just fine. Then give that a good blend. I like to blend mine for at least a good minute, sometimes 2, just to kind of help incorporate everything really well. And then just pour it into your glasses and serve. I also like to add just a little bit of sprinkle of nutmeg on top. And you can follow up even with whipped cream if you want. Enjoy! And now to baste that bird again and get going on the rest of our day with so many more goodies.
Really smoky.
Alright, my turn.
Here, cut your piece.
Mmm.
Doesn't that taste rich?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Good.
Well, thanks for watching. I hope you all got a kick out of our day and you got to see some really yummy food. I hope that y'all give some of this a try, especially with the turkey. The turkey always turns out really awesome. If anybody has ever made candy canes using either honey or maple syrup, please comment below. I would love to know how y'all's did and how it actually turned out, because you've seen how ours did. I hope y'all have a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year. Bye.
Bye.